Hi and welcome back to Photography with Stuart, and today we're going to be creating a home pet studio and giving you our top 10 tips for photographing your pets at home. And before we get into that, you probably noticed that I got a new intro video and a new logo. Just wondering what you think of it. I designed it myself. I was quite happy with it until my brother-in-law said that it looked like a budget James Bond logo. So cheers, Ben. My sister could do so much better. But anyway, going in to our video. So today we're going to be setting up a home pet studio in our kitchen. So I'm going to give you my top tips for it, but before we get started I'm going to tell you the equipment that I'm using. So behind me I have a 7x5 vinyl backdrop that I bought online. Wasn't expensive, I think I paid about £15 for that one. I'm just going to stop the video for 1 or 2 seconds just to talk about this background that I'm using on this shoot. Now, I purchased it online. It wasn't expensive, it cost me about £10 to £15, something like that. It's not the greatest quality on earth. It came folded, so it had a few creases in it and things like that. Most of the creases have gone, but I can edit most of it out in Photoshop afterwards. Now, they're invaluable if you're wanting to do any sort of home portrait photography. These are superb. I've used them for children's shoots, couples. I've used them even for a family, and I use them a lot for pet shoots. They're superb. You could have a few different designs and just roll them up and pop them away in the cupboard, and they're perfect to have. So keep them in mind. And I've got that set up on a backdrop kit, and I've got some clamps holding all that in place. Again, we're just going to be shooting with the Fuji X-T2 and the 1855mm kit lens. Now you'll notice that I'm using the kit lens quite a lot in this. Now I'm lucky enough to be a professional photographer. I shoot weddings and all that sort of stuff, and I get to spend quite a bit of money on kit because I need it for work. That's my tools. So, but most people, and especially myself when I first started, because I couldn't afford all this sort of kit. So I want to show you as much as you can possibly do with your kit lens. So that's why you're seeing the lens that comes with your camera in most of our videos. Occasionally I might use something else, or I might say to you, you might need extension tubes, which we've already done in a couple of videos. So, but as a whole, we're going to carry on using the kit lens that came with your camera. You can learn so much with your first kit, and there is so much you can do. Don't get bogged down by videos that say you need this and you need this and you need this. Get creative. You'll be able to get shots no matter what camera you've got. So anyway, I'm using my Fuji X-T2 with the kit lens, and I've got my Godox trigger on there, which is going to be firing my AD200 with the softbox attached. As we've mentioned in other videos, you can use any flash as long as you can fire it off the camera, but you are going to want to diffuse this one, so I'll give you a link in the description to a large reflector that has a diffuser panel in the middle. And the great thing with that is, even though you've taken the diffuser bit out, you can always wrap the reflector around a piece of cardboard and use that as a reflector as well. So you don't need to buy two, one is perfectly fine. And then on the other side, we're going to be using our reflector like I've just discussed. So I'm going to run through my top tips. So tip number 1 is to give your pet a tidy or a groom. Now, I've got a little Shih-tzu. That's not his temperament, that's just his breed, and he doesn't molt, so his fur starts to get quite long. Being locked down, we haven't been able to take him to the groomers, so I've had to give him a bit of a trim myself. So he doesn't look as good as he normally would. Looks like a little scruffy teddy bear at the moment. So, but I've given him a tidy, and he also wears a blue collar. Now, blue collar for this doesn't really work. It just stands out too much. If he had a tan collar or a black collar, I'll probably leave it on. So I'm going to take his collar off. So we're going to use some soft lighting. So as we've discussed, we're going to use the AD200 with the softbox. And again, you could do this if you wanted to with an off-camera flash like discussed in other videos, or you could use a large window with plenty of light coming through. But I don't have the luxury of that here, so that's why I'm using the flash and the softbox. And again, on the other side, we are using a reflector just to bounce some of that light back and take away some of those shadows. Now, my biggest tip that I can give you is a twofold tip, really. It does two things. So what we're going to do is we're going to raise the animal up off the ground. So I'm going to actually use the kitchen table, and what that does is saves your knees and your back from getting right down on the floor trying to photograph your animal as it's running around, and it stops them from disappearing halfway through your shoot. You can sort of control where they're going to be. You can't always control where they're going to look, but you can control where they're going to be. Tip number 4 is helped by the previous tip, is that you want to photograph them from a low perspective. So photographing any animal from above normally doesn't look great. You want to get right down to their eye level and see from their point of view, really. That gives the nicest photos. And you want to, tip number 5 is to focus on the eyes. With any portrait, the eyes is the most important part. So we're going to focus on those eyes. Tip number 6 is to use toys and treats. Now, most dogs, especially my dog, he doesn't have the greatest attention span, so using treats and his toys to grab his attention is superb. So make sure you've got plenty of those on hand. Tip number 7 is to use some props. Anything really. It's like my dog, he's not an active dog. He likes to lie around all day and relax and go to sleep. He hardly does anything. He has about 2 10-minute mad sessions a day. But as a rule, he's asleep most of the time. So something like a blanket that he can curl up in, or a teddy bear he can cuddle up to, would be superb. If you've got a dog that's a lot more active, you know, toys, things like that work great. Tip number 8 is to try and capture their character, and that's where your props are going to come in useful. So if you've got, like we just mentioned, a dog that likes to just chill out, you want to get that. The best portraits normally show off exactly what the dog is like. If it's not a super active dog, you don't want a picture of a dog charging through a field, because it's not them. Number 9 is to get creative. So there is loads of rules in photography. We've already discussed about photographing from a low level and things like that. So, but most rules can be broken to at least some effect. I've done plenty of dog shoots where I've photographed a dog directly from above, where they've been looking up to the camera, photographed them through glass, photographed them jumping over things and trying to get into things. And so just get creative with your pictures, and that's where you'll start to see the biggest difference in the quality of the shots that you're getting. So, and tip 10 is basically just have some fun and gain some experience doing it. You know, get creative, use all these tips, but break them. You know, just enjoy yourself. That's what it's all about. Practice, 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 and you will get really good at it. If it's like me, it's eventually. If you like anyone else, it'll probably be quite quickly. Anyway, we're going to set up now and show you it all in practice. Oh, nothing like a cup of tea. Right, so we've got our little dog, Socks. You're going to say hello to the camera. I don't think he wants to. So, but we've got him, he's all ready to go. Like I said, he does look a little bit shabby because I've had to groom him myself. But I think we're going to get started. So my light here is on quarter power. I'm shooting at 125th of a second at f11 ISO 200. So I'm using f11 because I want a decent depth of field. I don't want it to be too shallow. I want everything to be quite nicely in focus. So we're going to get started. So firstly, I've already taken his collar off. I'm just going to move him to a place where I want him. I'm going to get a very quick test shot. So focusing in on the eyes. Silly noises work absolutely perfectly. He looks great there. Could probably do with it being slightly brighter. So I'm going to bring it down to f10, I think. And we're going to have another shot there. See how that looks? That looks great. Just going to move my light around just a little bit and lower it, get it really nice and close for the softest possible light. And we're going to see if we can get a few shots. He looks quite chilled and relaxed there. Shih-Tzus are very difficult to get them to look excited. With most dogs you would use a toy or something like that to get them to prick their ears up. I've got a little treat here for him. It's going to pop on top of the camera, so you can't wait for that. He's sitting there lovely and still for that, you can see that. And every now and then we're going to reward him with his treat, which he's going to eat. He just doesn't want to do it looking at the camera. Again, I'm just going to stop the video just for a few seconds. Pet shoots can be quite time consuming. They're not like adults where you say, oh, look this way, and everyone looks towards the camera, even though they don't always do that. Dog shoots can take quite some time to do. They're not always going to play ball. So I haven't videoed the whole of the shoot. We probably carried on for around about an hour. So I'm going to stop it at this point and we'll just move on to the end of the video. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video and you got some fantastic results yourself. I may bring a couple more videos to you in the future on pet photography. I was thinking about one, my dog Socks, who you've just met. He doesn't do very well off a lead. Once you take his lead off him, he's gone. He doesn't call back no matter how much you call him. So when I photograph him outside, I have to do it with his lead on. So, but it doesn't always create the best shots. So I think in future we're going to bring you a video on how to overcome that. So, but if you have any suggestions on videos you'd like to see, make sure that you pop them down in the comments there and I shall take a look at them and try and cover as many as I can. Well, like I said, if you have enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and ring that bell for notifications of future videos. Well, thanks for watching and ta-ta for now.